I'm Suzanne Sibylla. I'm the owner of Sibylla and Associates, which is the premier leadership and employee development company. Overcome obstacles, reframe your reality, love life, and have growth goals. Change and shift your energy. Pivot. Welcome, everyone. I'm Suzanne Sibylla, your host of Pivot Now, where we bring on interesting, exciting, and dynamic guests who will share with us their tips, tricks, and life and business hacks to help you pivot in your life. I'm so excited to bring this guest on our show. She's absolutely amazing. I know you're going to love her. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She's an award-winning actress, director, and one of Los Angeles's most in-demand acting coaches, renowned for pioneering an embodied, energy-based approach to performance and leadership. As the creator of the CHAKRA approach and the macro method, Murisa has helped thousands of actors and creatives clear emotional blocks, regulate their nervous systems, and access deeper presence, resulting in freer artistry, career longevity, and consistently booked work. Through her company, About the Work, and her best-selling book, Acting with Energy, which is #1 bestseller in 10 countries, so amazing, Murisa has emerged as a thought leader at the intersection of craft, energy healing, and professional excellence. Her work is known for producing breakthroughs, often unlocking emotional range and creative access in minutes rather than months, making her methods sought after by both emerging artists and industry veterans. In addition to her work and with actors, Murisa is increasingly sought after as a speaker and experiential facilitator, guiding high-performing professionals through live chakra workshops and embodied leadership practices that create immediate emotional clarity and cohesion. So excited to introduce you to our show, Murisa Harba. Woo! Let's go. Bring on the fire. Bring on the flame. Let's go, Murisa. So excited to have you here. Wow, you're so amazing. I love your background.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is real. This is my real background.
This is real. So
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, what's been the biggest pivot in your life or career, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
Oh, man. Yeah. So about 14 years ago, I suffered an event that left me with PTSD, and I didn't know it for an entire year. I acted like I didn't have a problem. I kind of shoved those emotions way deep down and acted like that wasn't a big deal. That was no biggie, whatever. And my body paid for it. And I didn't realize that it was even a problem until I spoke with a friend of mine whose brother was a lawyer that said, hey, you know what? You actually have a case you could litigate if you wanted to. And my body responded to that because it felt for the first time that I could stick up for myself. And I didn't end up litigating, but what happened was I started a business instead.
Oh, wow.
Because that, that's the best way to move forward. Sometimes litigation is the answer, but for me, I didn't want to have to go through more suffering and more bringing up of that incident. So I charged forwards with building a business. And I'm an actress director since I was very little. I moved out to California as a professional about 18 years ago. And I was looking for an acting technique that was going to get me there 100% of the time. I have a BFA in acting from Boston University. I just studied all the methods out there in New York and Boston and in Los Angeles. And for me, I was getting on the performance front, I was getting there about 82% of the time. And if I was going to leave my family back in New Jersey to do my dream out in California, I needed to feel 100% in my craft, because going for your dreams is scary, right? You know,
Yeah.
you really have to have a lot of faith in your abilities and in the universe to help you get there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up coming across this method that later became my chakra approach. So I was actually at an event and I was learning about the chakras in the body, and it was like a cartoon, an anvil hit me on the head, and it was basically like I I didn't know what I was looking for, but it found me.
Mm.
And my whole life, people were saying, your body is your instrument. Your body is your instrument. And as an actress, okay, like I sort of understood that, but nobody explained it to me that I knew how to play an instrument. I played the piano, I played the cello, and the first thing you do when you get an instrument is you learn where the notes are.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went to that event and I learned about the chakras, I was like, oh my God, these are the notes on our body. This is how we can purposely show up with what we have as our body, as our instrument. And to me, that like everything opened up, and I developed that technique, and I opened up my acting studio, which was the business that I created right during the PTSD time. So
Wow.
two worlds are converging at the same time. And I didn't quite know how it was going to go, right? When you start a business, you're hoping people come and like
Uh-huh.
it and enjoy it and want to come back and all of that. And I was starting to lead what I call a chakra warm up. And it's a way to sort of attune your body and clear out any blocked emotions so that you can have your instrument clear, basically, as if you would tune a cello or a guitar, right? You tune it, you twist the
Mm-hmm.
little
Yeah.
knobs, and it becomes in tune, and now you can play it properly. So that was the very first thing that happened. And at the same time, so these are parallel stories that are happening at the same time. And this is important because I went to talk therapy for my PTSD, which I didn't know that I had. I go there. Obviously, something's wrong. I'm very irritable with my family and quick to temper, and everyone's asking, "What's wrong with her? What's going on?"
Mm.
And I didn't know what was wrong, but I was feeling all these feelings that I had shoved down for a year now, and finally they were coming out. And I went to talk therapy, and the first 3 sessions, I couldn't talk. No words came out of my mouth. It was just tears. And every time I opened my mouth to even tell her, the therapist, what had happened to me, my mouth would just not form words. Nothing would come out. I would try to talk, and it was just completely blocked in my throat.
Mm.
So that's happening. And now I'm also teaching people how to clear their instruments, and so that they can play their instruments, professionally as professional actors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm moving energy. I'm teaching them how to move energy. But in that time, I'm also moving my own energy. So in that time, I realized that I felt safer pushing, how do I say this? Transmuting that energy in front of a class where people didn't know what I was talking about, where people didn't know what I was thinking about. I felt safer doing that, literally teaching the class and moving energy and moving those emotions out of my body in front of a class than I did speaking the actual words to a therapist. And over the course of that next year, I healed my own PTSD while teaching my classes. And
Wow.
nobody knew about
Amazing.
this. Nobody knew
Amazing.
about this. Yeah, nobody knew about
That's
this.
absolutely amazing. And that's coming from, I have a background as a therapist.
Yeah,
I still practice as a therapist. So that's really amazing to hear that you were able to heal yourself through PTSD through this method.
yeah.
Well, I really want to know what this method is about. I mean, you got me on edge. You got us all on edge wanting to know. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
more about this method and what are the
Yes.
chakras? Because a lot of us
Yes.
don't know what the
Oh,
chakras are.
yes.
And we're like, we're hearing the word chakra, we hear the word, but we don't really know what that means. So tell us more
Absolutely.
about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 7 energy centers in the body. They all go along the spine, and they're all actually connected to our parasympathetic nervous system. So everything's interconnected. We have attached glands that go with certain chakras, and it really has to, there's different qualities of energy that happen in each of the energy centers. So to sort of pedestrianize this quickly, the fastest way I can explain this is we already use colloquialisms when we talk about things in the world every single day. Have you ever heard speak from the heart?
Yes.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, we say that all the time. And what does that mean? It means speak from the heart, right? This is actually this is the middle chakra, right? Your heart chakra. And that has to do with giving and receiving. So when someone's, nervous about giving a speech at a wedding or something, a toast, and someone says, hey, just speak from the heart. Basically, we process that as, hey, don't worry about them, give to them. Give to them from your heart versus nervousness, which lives in your sacral chakra. It's a little bit lower, where it's, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. And then the thoughts come, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's one that's very easily accessible. We know what that means. It's not woo woo. It's real, right? And same with cat got your tongue, right? We've heard this phrase before, or frog in your throat, right? I don't know why they're animal based, but they are.
Really?
I just realized that.
Often, yeah.
Yeah, but so that that means you can't get the words out, and so that's actually a blocked throat chakra. That's what was happening to me when I was in my talk therapy sessions, and it was easier for me to move energy than to speak words. Your aha moment, Oprah says this all the time. Your aha moment, that's your intuition, your third eye, right? That's when you know something, you don't know how you know it, but you just know it. Somehow you figured it out, right? And we can't explain it sometimes. It's just a sixth sense, literally the sixth chakra on the body. And then vulnerability lives in that sacral area that I mentioned before, where nervousness lives. Also excitement lives there. So that's an interesting little tip I can share. If you're nervous, you can transmute it into excitement rather quickly because they live in the same place in the body.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
So when we're nervous, we're like, whoa, I don't know. And it's living in your pelvic region. You can't see because it's below the screen, but pelvic region. And then if you go, whoa, I'm nervous, to whoa, I'm excited, even just this word change, it's the same energy in the body. It's just now you've switched it. So that's a little tip.
Yeah, I love that. I say that to my clients all the time, when they have, let's say, a presentation to do or they're in their fear. And I'll say, okay, instead of saying I'm feeling nervous or I'm feeling anxious, switch the words and reframe that to I feel excited, I feel energetic. And it definitely, it switches everything for them. They're like, oh, I never thought about it. Thinking of it that way, right? Instead of saying
and the
I'm anxious,
embodiment.
I'm nervous, I'm fearful, think of it as I'm excited, I'm energized, I feel energized by this.
Yeah. And when the words shift and you can also add the embodiment practice to that, now you have the full effect. So that's kind of what I do.
Love it. Love it. That gets a flame. That gets a flame in the heart. So cool. That is so cool. I
Yeah.
love it. So can you give us more of an example of what you do in the chakra workshops?
Yeah. So I'll continue this story because then that goes into twofold. So as I was creating my studio, I thought I was, obviously creating a performance method for professional actors and speakers, and didn't realize I was my own PTSD that. And then along the way, other students came up to me and said, I don't know what you just did, but I just let go of 20 years of guilt and shame towards my late mother. Another one was like, I understand my family so much more. Thank you. Tears in his eyes. And these are like grown men that are very visibly moved by what it feels like when you can release energy that you've been holding on to for so long. And energy
Mm.
is really emotion, right? So
Mhm.
yes, I entered this industry as an artist, and somehow I'm coming out a healer. I didn't expect that. That was the pivot I didn't expect at all, to be honest with you. But I've had those sort of popping popcorn stories over the years of how, people have healed themselves through doing this work with me, and saved marriages, and all sorts of examples that I again did not set out to do, but it happened, and now I'm in a place where I'm ready to share this with the world. So just in the past year, I have opened up my studio to include everybody who's on a healing journey, not just performers who are looking to book more work and connect with the camera and connect with their audiences. So studio in Hollywood called About the Work, and now we have sort of another leg of that company, more of inner work, so about the so that's the two legs of the business now that have literally just expanded in this past. It's very exciting.
Wow, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So can you again, I think we got a little blip there. So can you tell us again, the studio is in LA.
Yes, so my studio is in Hollywood, California, and I also teach on 5 continents.
Oh, okay. That's amazing. That really is. So what is the number one thing that you see trips people up when they're trying to pivot?
Not giving themselves space and
Hmm.
grace. I think pivot is happening sometimes we aren't ready to let go of the old identity yet, and we kind of get stuck because part of that old identity is so near and dear to us that we don't want to let it go. It feels like we're betraying a part of ourselves, a part of ourselves that got us to where we are right now in the middle of the pivot.
Mm, yeah.
and and so it's coming to terms with the grief of letting go of who you once were, and feeling that,
Mm,
and sitting with that and moving through that, so that and almost honoring it, right? Because it got you to where you are now, but then you have this magnificent horizon before you that's kind of coaxing you forwards, and you have to go in that direction, but it feels like you're being pulled in 2 directions. So being kind to yourself,
hmm,
and noticing that when you're in that position, there is a goo phase. It's a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, right? It just doesn't
mm,
happen overnight.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And we don't condemn the who we once were, the caterpillar. That was a part of our process to be on and revered and thanked, right? It got us to where we are. And now, if we're in, depending on where we are in the process, the goo phase is when that caterpillar in the cocoon sides are, mixing together and becoming a new structure altogether. And that's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah, I love what you're talking about. I mean, the whole, caterpillar to butterfly stage. I think that is so important because I think a lot of times we want to get to the other side, or we don't
Yeah.
think there's another side. We're just stuck in the
Yep.
goo stage, as you're saying. And
Yeah.
I talk to my clients a lot about this, about how to go about going from, being where you are now to going to where you want to be, and keeping that as your vision, as your way of the why, right? Because the why is so important. A lot of times people say, well, I don't know how to go about doing this. I want to make this pivot. I don't know how. And I say,
Yeah.
don't look at the how, but go for the why. Why do you want to make
Yeah.
this pivot? Why is it so important for you? And really understand that and really dig in deep to the why. And
I
then
love
the
that.
how will take care of itself. I
Yeah.
think a lot of
I
times
love that.
and a lot of times it's letting go of how you were before, and that identity, the past identity, to form the new identity. And then
Yeah.
realizing too that former, so to speak, former or past identity actually has helped you to be who you are today. Because I can imagine, for example, for you, I mean, that was challenging. It sounds like very challenging to go through that with the PTSD and everything, especially for the whole year. However, when it sounds like when you look back on it, that is where, I mean, you've been able to create a business, you've created this whole chakra method. So there was beauty, if you will. It was a gift, in other words, that came out of that challenge.
Yes. Incredible pressure, but then the diamond emerged.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So this part of the show, we call it 3, 2, 1, go. So we want to hear
Yes.
from you 3 tips, 2 strategies, and 1 action item to pivot our lives forward.
Okay. All right. So first tip is your body does not lie. It always
Mm,
tells you the truth, always. So we have to learn how to listen to it and then advocate for it.
mm,
This is a lesson that comes around again and again, even in my own life, even just in this past week. And body almost, your mind,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
myself for a whole year, I wasn't struggling, but everybody else knew it. Right.
Uh-huh.
And then, and my body knew though that whole time. So for everyone listening, if there's something plaguing you in your body, pay attention to it.
Mm,
Maybe it's emotional, maybe it's physical, maybe it's both, but it's real. And pay attention to it. It will tell you what's going on. Even if doctors are saying nothing is wrong.
so true. So true.
From my past, the week that I just had, that was something, and I just advocated for myself, and we finally got down to the bottom of whatever it was. And I was like, yes, I knew this whole time, even though 2 different doctors gaslit me, which was
Mm,
unfortunate. So it was like that same tip, that same lesson, I'm still learning on a day-to-day basis. I've learned it
mm-hmm.
many years ago, and it just keeps coming back again. So for those of you out there listening, that's definitely something that you can do for yourself. A second one is settling your nervous system via the energy centers. This is more of a practical to do one. You can do this anytime you feel overwhelmed. So just simply taking your hand and putting it on your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And if you feel, because usually anxiety kind of feels like it's going to drown you, right? The water
Mm-hmm.
level is rising and we feel that squeeze and that tension. So I want you to take a deep breath in, and then I want you to exhale it into your hand in your heart. So we're just going to move the energy from here, anxiety level, to heart. So, and just exhaling into your hand. Then I want you to move it one lower. So one lower would be solar plexus. This is right here. And then take a deep breath in and exhale into that hand. And then we're going to go one more down. So now into sacral. So take your hand and put it on your sacral, which is basically your pelvic region. So deep breath in and then exhale into that hand, and you'll notice the energy settling. And there you have it. Did you feel
it? Yeah, I love it. Did you feel it really centered and really grounded? I love that.
Sometimes when you're like, oh, just take a deep breath, and then we do, and it doesn't go anywhere. And we have to let it settle via those energy centers. And it's also, very much connected to your diaphragm and the muscles in your belly, which are also connected to the muscles in your jaw, which brings me to my third tip, which is likability factor. So this is for everybody, but anybody who wants to A, make a friend, B, be likable on stage, C, be likable in whatever in dating life. Your belly muscles and your jaw muscles are inexplicably linked. So if one's tight, the other's tight. And if one's loose, the other's loose. It's very strange. It's hard to tense and have your belly loose, and vice versa. It just feels not right. But a lot of times we don't know how we're coming off when we enter a room or when we're nervous, right? And the belly muscles will tense up. And what happens is, like right now, you can visibly see, like I'm showing up differently in my body right now. All I'm doing is tensing my belly muscles. The result, my jaw is starting to now grip. So people show up like this and they look like a puppet, right? And they may not even realize this. And this is a real thing. It's called faulty perception of self. So understanding how to relax the jaw and then relax that lower belly, which you can use the tip we just did to relax that lower belly, brings in a likability factor, because then you are accessible as a human. People can feel like they can trust you, that you're not hiding anything, that you're sure of yourself instead of being unsure, that you want to be there. It's crazy. I've done this exercise with thousands of actors, and I've always asked them, what do you think when I talk to you with my jaw tense and my belly tense? And they say all kinds of crazy things. It looks like you don't want to be here. It looks like you're nervous. It looks like you're unsure of yourself. It looks like, right. And I say the same thing, and I do the same exercise. And then I relax my belly and my jaw, and I say the same words, the same intro. And they're like, you're likable, you're this, you're that, you want to be here, you're confident, you're so excited. And think about that, right? This is audience perspective. So using that to allow yourself to show up authentically in a very practical muscle contraction or release kind of way, that's a repeatable tip that you can do anytime you enter a new situation where you want to be likable.
I love that. That's an excellent tip. I'll definitely use that tip. I mean, the whole thing about the jaw and the stomach. Wow, that's really, really good. Because when you think about it, I mean, communication, they say is 93% is nonverbal, right? It's not the words we say, but it's our body language.
Yep.
So we come in there with that stiff neck and, and stomach and everything, and you're not even realizing it, right? It's because it's at a unconscious level, subconscious level. It's being more aware of how you present or how you communicate. So I love that. I love that approach. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
So what are your two strategies, and what is your one go-to action item?
Okay. So strategy, masculine and feminine energy. Usually we think of this as a man and a woman, or, manly, girly, right? Couldn't be farther from the truth when we're talking about energy. And this is one of my favorite strategies, or this is the one that saved marriages before. So hopefully it can help. So hope anybody listening, because it's a good one. So it's the cup and the water analogy. So this cup is the masculine energy, right? It decides the structure. And inside I have water, and you can hear it. That water is the feminine, right? So that's the feminine energy, which is expression of emotions, expression of energy. But the masculine is holding the space, right? That the feminine gets to be inside of. And if you think about it, when you're in an argument, if two people are expressing their emotions, they are both the water, which means nobody is holding the space and the water is going to go everywhere. So in order to flip the energy and de-escalate the argument in less than 5 seconds flat, somebody has to become the container. And what will happen is it might be turbulent for a second, but as soon as that masculine energy holds the space, and this can be a girl or a guy or whoever, it doesn't matter, the energy will settle. Wild. You have to try it. And to believe me, you have to, and then the energy will settle, because all it needed was to be heard and validated. That's it. You might not have to agree with them, but it's not about that. It's just about holding the space, which means not interjecting, not, expressing your own emotions, because then you become the water, right? So it's really committing to that masculine energy of holding the space for the other person. Then the energy will settle and the whole thing can flip. And then the other person who just got heard can become the masculine container. And then the other person can express their emotions and be heard. And so, yeah, the cup and the water analogy is one of my favorites and saved marriages, because
I love it. Love it. That's a fire. That's a fire and flame. A flame and a heart. Ooh. That's so cool. I love that. Yeah, the water in the cup there. The cup and the water. Yeah. Great analogy. I'll use that one. Definitely. Yeah. Yes. So what action item to pivot our lives forward?
I would say a lot of times we have energy trapped in our body via something that's not being said that we want to say. And so that ends up making us feel in certain situations that we're kind of in this choked position. Maybe it's when we're around a certain person or a certain family member or a friend, but it feels what's happening is there is some truth that is stuck inside of you that needs to come out, wants to come out, but you're afraid to say it or share it for fear of whatever the repercussions could be. And as hard as that may be, it's important to release that in whatever way you can, even if you feel to that actual person, because it's going to wreak havoc on your system, your nervous system, your body, and it could become something worse if we don't actually address it. So being brave, our bold move forward to speak our truth.
Love it, love it, love it. Another flame. Gosh, you're just dropping all these nuggets. Love it, love it, love it, Murisa. So how can we connect with you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I have my email as well, Murisa at about-the-work.com. And if you're, again, there's two options. If you're interested in working with me, it's if you're more on the acting performance side, we have the acting studio in Hollywood and then online as well. And then I also have a 12-week embodied energy course that I teach as well. And that is also online. There's ways to get in touch with me and we can have an exploration call if that's something that you are interested in bringing into your life this year.
Sounds fabulous. Thank you so much for being a guest on Pivot Now. We appreciate you, Murisa. Thank you so much.
You.
Just dropped so much gold nuggets. Love it, love it, love it. We got to do the flames and the hearts, the flames and the hearts. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching our show every week. We're here Tuesdays, Pivot Now. And I'm also doing a masterclass that I'd love for you to attend. It's called Pivot You. So if you're in a life place right now where you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling anxious and you're stuck and you don't know what to do or where to go next, join my free masterclass. We have it every Wednesday at 4:00. And you could sign up. I have the link below. You can sign up for our class and pivot in your life and pivot to the life you love. Thanks again for joining our show and watching our show. And we'll see you next week. Change and shift your energy. Pivot